Greetings to everyone gathered here today. I would like to start this session with the quote of the day by Sir C.V. Raman. Ask the right question and nature will open the doors to her secrets. Today, being the 28th of February, we celebrate Science Day to mark the discovery of the Raman effect by Sir C.V. Raman himself. We are all gathered here today to get inspired, enlightened, and gain a fruitful session that would enrich our knowledge. I, Srivatsa Varadarajan, on behalf of the IICSE Student Chapter, Shastra University, welcome our chief guest of the day, Dr. Amarnath, our, our Dean, Dr. K.S. Rajan, our honorable professors, alumni members, external participants, and the students gathered here. The Department of Chemical Engineering at Shastra was established in the year 1994 and has fostered passionate graduates in chemical engineering ever since. The National Conference on Advances in Process Engineering, or CAPE as we call it, is the annual event of the Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers student chapter at Shastra. The objective of this conference is to provide an interdisciplinary forum for researchers and engineers to share and discuss their ideas on the emerging issues in the field of process engineering. Once again, I extend a warmest welcome to the speaker of the day, Dr. Amarnath, Managing Director, Sri Shankara Weaving Private Limited, Chairman of Quinox Oil and Games, Chairman of Sai Invent Consultancy, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. A privilege to have you here. I now request Rahul Vishwanathan to introduce our honorable chief guest for the day. Kindly proceed, Rahul.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
So, greetings to everyone present here for this wonderful event. It is my great privilege to introduce our chief guest. Dr. Amarnath received his doctorate from Institute of Innovative Design, Russia. He completed his Chartered Engineer degree at the Institution of Engineers, India, and completed his BTech in Textile Technology from Alagappa College of University, Gindi, Chennai. His areas of expertise include textile technology and innovation in product design and development. He is a certified CRIS Level 1 teacher by the Institution of Innovative Design Russia and a visiting faculty in various renowned global educational institutions. He is a recipient of national, regional, and state award in the field of innovation. In 2016, his startup was among the top 3,000 startups in India in Smart 50 launched by IIM Calcutta, Innovation Park, and DST. He also has 10 patents in his field of expertise. As a person with rich entrepreneurial experience, he is currently the managing director of Sri Shankara Weaving Private Limited, the chairman of Quinox Toys and Games, and is also the chairman of Sai Invent Consultancy. Being a member of Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust for over 20 years, he has mentored several budding entrepreneurs and has received an appreciation award for the same in 2011. He has contributed to the Prime Minister's office and the Government of India with the Transform India initiative by providing ideas like refurbishment of decommissioned railway coaches to serve as classrooms, ideas to increase revenue through GST, and also the conservation and transportation of fresh water using atmospheric pressure being a few of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rahul. As a token of gratitude, we would like to show the memento to our chief guest. The memento will be displayed on your screen and the same will be couriered to you, sir. Now, without further ado, I kindly request Dr. Amarnath to deliver his guest lecture on opportunities for chemical engineers in setting up successful industries. I request the participants to raise their questions through the chat box. Sir, please proceed.
Karthik. Share. Huh?
Can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Rahul and Srivastava, for that lovely introduction. And I'd like to thank Dr. Vinod for having invited me to address you all today. A small change. This is not going to be a lecture on successful industry setting up, but I'm going to give you a small presentation. I'm not going to lecture you on a Sunday afternoon. And I'm very glad to say that I'm able to see more than 50 participants who are participating in today's presentation. Okay, let's get into the main theme. Opportunities for chemical engineers in setting up successful industries. Well, I had a little laugh. I laughed to myself when I was making this presentation because everyone wants to set up a successful industry. No one wants to do something which is going to fail. So I thought, okay, this is nice. In a nice, joyful way of starting, talking about positive. Well, is there a recipe for a successful industry? If there is one, then everyone should be coming up with very successful industries. Well, the answer is no. There is no such recipe for a successful industry. What do? Well, there is a scientific planning which is being taught today before starting a good industry or any industry. Before starting an industry, the success of it is always in planning. It is always said that success depends upon planning. Those who plan to succeed and those who fail to plan. So similarly, there is a SWOT analysis. Now let us go into what is SWOT analysis and see what kind of planning one has to do before going and setting up an industry. Now here SWOT is actually SWOT. I'll go into the deliberate on it more in detail. But before that, I would like to tell you that the first one, S and W, these two factors depend internally, whereas the other two, O and T, depend upon external factors. S stands for strength, your own strength. That is why I said it is an internal factor. W is for weakness. Again, this is an internal factor. What is the weakness? I'm not talking about physical weakness, but about your own strength, about setting up an industry, or what are the disadvantages that you have in setting up an industry. So these two are internal factors, and we are going to look at the other two, which is opportunities. This is an external factor. We will go into detail in each and every one of these four analysis. The last one is a threat. The threat that can come into an industry which will make it either a make or a break situation. So this is what is known as the SWOT analysis. As I told you, there is no fixed recipe for any industry, for a successful industry, but there is a scientific strategy that you can do. Planning is most important. So this SWOT analysis is a very important factor that you should look at before setting up an industry. Now, first of all, you have to decide what kind of an industry you are looking at. Is it a large industry or a medium scale industry, or is it going to be a small scale industry? Whatever it is going to be a successful industry. That is our main aim of setting up an industry, not only to create employment, but also to generate wealth. So basically, what is it that we are going to look at? So first of all, keep in mind, decide what type of industry you're going to set up. Is it going to be a large, medium, or small? Now, first is the SWOT, SWOT, as I told you. The SWOT, the first one is S for strength. Now, you have to look at yourself. What is your strength? Are you strong in your petrochemical? You want to start in a very large scale. That's why I said a large, medium, and small scale. Now, what is your strength? We'll go into that much more. Now, depending upon your funding availability, how much of money you are going to bring in, how much of subsidy you're going to get, how much the government is going to help you in setting up your industry, or bringing in crowdfunding, or going to angel investors. All this is a subject by itself. We are only going to skim over all this in the next 30 to 40 minutes. You cannot be putting everything into a nutshell. So this is a very large area that we have taken up for discussion today. So basically, funding is very important. You cannot start thinking of a large petrochemical plant with limited funding. So what I would suggest is, there is a lot of scope. If you have noticed my logo, Invent, I will again show you in the last screen, my Invent, INV stands for innovation and ENT stands for entrepreneurship. So depending upon the strength of your funding, you should decide whether you want to go for a large scale or a small, little medium scale or a small scale. Now let me come to a little more detail about this particular screen. If you want a large petrochemical, then it's going to be something like, in 1978 or 80, there was a plant put up at Mathura near Delhi. That was known as the mother of mega project. It was an Indian oil refinery at Mathura. They said it is a mega project. But when Reliance came up with their refinery in Jamnagar, they said it's a mother of mega projects. Now, what is the strength? Is Reliance bigger than the government of India or Indian Oil? Not really. But they were able to get more funding. External funding is very important, not your own resources. Because in a government, you always have restriction of what you're going to fund. In your own capacity, you will have a restriction how much you're going to fund. And you are responsible for the funding that you're going to invest. So you have to find out. Now in funding, again, I'll tell you, my own batchmate, chemical engineer from 1975, he set up a pharmaceutical unit. And today, he is the largest brufen producer in the world. An individual, in the last 40 years, 45 years, he has grown so huge. It is not a government sector. It is not like Ambani. He started off with a meager sum of just 5 lakhs, but he has built his empire so large that he is the world's largest brufen producer. Now, let me give you one more small tip, because over the period of years, I've learned a lot. And what I'm giving you today is my wisdom. I'm not giving you my expertise alone. It's a wisdom that I've collected. Now, what you see in branding, supposing you've got very limited funds, what do you do? How do you go about setting up a successful enterprise? You don't need land, building, machinery, and all that. Now, what you see on the screen on your right-hand side is actually fish liver oil capsules, or they call it like, seven seas cod liver oil capsules used to be the pearls. They used to call them pearls in my days. Now, there are companies, there are countries in Europe which can sell you barrels of A-class international classified oil, fish oil. Now, you import that one barrel, which is 200 liters, and then you give it to someone to capsulate it. They will capsulate it. It will turn up to be like 1 million capsules out of 200 liters of fish oil. Now, this you can only market it by putting your own brand. Now, see how I'm telling you, funding is very important. 1 barrel of shark liver oil or cod liver oil or salmon oil is not very costly. It is very much within your reach. An ordinary man, a middle income group family can afford to import 1 barrel of fish oil. Now you go to a company, I will tell you whom you can go to also, because I've done all this in my years. You can go to this particular person and tell him, you convert this into capsules and give it to me. This is the label I'm wanting. You even give him the artwork. He will prepare everything, put it in a box, carton, and give it to you. You spend money only in marketing it. So slowly you build your market, and without any infrastructure, you can become a very successful industrialist in a small scale. Doesn't matter whether it is large scale, medium scale, or small scale. It should be a successful enterprise. Now, what is your weakness? Now, SWOT analysis. Yes, we have seen what is strength for. Now, I'm going to talk about weakness. Are you technology savvy? You may be a chemical engineer, but do you have the expertise? If you don't have the expertise for a particular product, you may be a chemical engineer, no doubt about it. You may be a gold medalist But if you want to make shark liver oil, do you have the expertise to make shark liver, either to extract it or to convert it into pearls? So this is the expertise. If so, then you have to buy the technology. So you buy the technology. That is your weakness. You don't have full knowledge on your technology. So you buy the technology. Now next comes the management. Now you have to manage the staff. If you are very weak, because in the later slides I'll be talking about how is again you could make your industry a successful industry. So I'm trying to tell you that if you are not able to concentrate fully on your management, you hire good managers and you have a good successful running industry in your hand. And the third factor would be you buy a patent, a patented product. The lovely incidents I can share here. One particular company or a particular product, I'm telling you here the reality. This is a real case study that came to me. A company was manufactured, they had patented the extraction of a particular extract for a mosquito repellent. Please follow carefully because you are all chemical engineers and I'm trying to impart a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom to you. Now this particular chemical is a mosquito repellent and something like, Good Night and such brands, Godrej, Good Night was buying this concentrate and formulating it and marketing it as a product. Now, one person was working under him. He came out, he knew the technology, though it was a patented technology. And then he said he went to another state, set up another industry and started manufacturing the same product. Now, when someone invests in research and development, they spend crores of rupees, at least lakhs of rupees, if not billions of rupees. So what happened was his competitor came up and he started undercoating this original innovator who was having a patent on him with his company's name. He has a patent that he is the only one who can manufacture this particular product. And he's got a still years of about 20 years duration for the patent. No one else can come up. So he filed a case in the court. The court called the two people and said, look, this man has filed a case saying that you are copying his technology. You please tell me how you're doing it. He said, I cannot divulge my technology because you have the authority, you have the thing to tell that I cannot, like Coca-Cola today, they will not tell you what is the recipe going into the Coca-Cola drink. The concentrate is made and the family held secret. He said, no, I cannot divulge it. But the man who originally patented was adamant. He said, no, you have to tell us. But court said, I am helpless. You come to some other way of how you're going to fight your case. So he consulted a few consultants and what they said, okay, I'll give you an idea. Ask the judge to ask the man who's being copying. You give him the benefit of doubt that is his own technology, fine. But come up with, submit the sample of your residue. We all know as chemical engineers that a distillation process is used to extract this particular chemical. Okay. Now, every distillation process got a residue. So they said, you please submit your residue. So this man came and submitted his residue because he did not tell us the process, but he has to submit the residue. They compared the residue of this man and the residue of the original patent holder and it was identical. Now, what does it mean? The residue is same means the raw material is same, the process is same. So the court decided the case in favor of the original patent holder and the case was squashed. And the man who copied, his company was sealed, it was confiscated, his money he had to pay a huge amount to this man, the original patent holder. So that is the advantage of having a patent. Now make sure that your patent has got life. Otherwise, if you're going to buy it at the tail end, you'll be losing whatever money you give. Supposing normally, as soon as you get a patent, because I've got many patents and I'm licensing my patents. So I see, now if I just got it this year, the patent life is for the next 20 years. And you'll have monopoly in that system. So please make sure if you don't have the technology, if you don't have the knowledge, that is your weakness. So go to some consultants, go to people knowledgeable on the subject and ask them, what is it? Please tell me, I'm ready to pay you a consultation fee. Get me a safe patent. So that is how you go on overcome your weakness. You may have a weakness. That doesn't mean that you run away from your industry. You have to overcome your weakness. So you buy your technology, you buy a good manager to run your show, and you buy a good patent to safeguard your product. Next, yes, we have seen strength, weakness. Now, the external factors. The external factors is opportunity. The first two is internal factors, that which you can govern. But the opportunity suddenly comes on your way, which you cannot create. Supposing, for example, you have decided to become a pharmaceutical manufacturer. Let us take, for example, maybe even a simple case like, let us say Pfizer. Okay, Pfizer said, I'm a manufacturer of drugs and chemicals. Now, supposing due to the COVID, no one foresaw the COVID situation. Now, suddenly, the demand for hand sanitizers went up very high. So what Pfizer can do is give the specification to an outsourcer, a good hand wash, and brand it. Simply brand it as Pfizer. People will say that this is a quality product and start buying. So you are not invested anything. You're only doing branding. You already have a brand in the market. Pfizer is an international brand. People know that if this brand, like Hindustan Lever, they said, okay, this is a brand. So you can rely upon it. Tata is a brand. So you set up a brand. Now these people will outsource the product like a hand sanitizer and tell, please put the label manufactured for under the license of so and so. Give the details and they will start manufacturing. Third, now people have started vaccinating. Now hospitals who are like Fortis, Apollo, there are so many hospitals. Today I received a WhatsApp forward giving me about 300 hospitals which are authorized to give COVID vaccination. Now this is an opportunity that has come across you. Your patients have dwindled because people are now afraid to go to the hospitals. They are worried they may contract COVID unnecessarily. But so the business has actually come down. So now there's an opportunity. An opportunity has come where you can vaccinate a person and you again make revenue. So this is an opportunity which is depending upon an outside factor. Now this factor is coming your way and you should be ready to grab it. Now the threat, SWOT. Now threat can be of various things. Suddenly the government can come and say, you cannot manufacture a particular drug. It has been banned. Then what happens to your entire plant? You'll be suffering. So you have to make sure that your plant is just a kind of a distilling plant where instead of distilling any particular chemical which has been banned, now you can start distilling some other product and your company still continues. Or it could be a threat from the Pollution Control Board. Then what do you have to do? Suddenly you have to reinvest money to bring in pollution control equipment. So like that. It could be a government legal formality. You can't help it. Or you can have someone else setting up the similar industry and competing with the same product. This is where I just gave you an example of having a patent so that no external competitor will come to you. So you have to buy a good patent which has got enough life. At least till that life is existent, you will not be threatened from external competition. The last but not the least, your own staff, they can go on a strike and leave you high and dry. So in such a case, you have to look up at a good management. You have to look at their requirements. Why does a person go on a strike? So you have to call them, and then before the strike starts, you have to solve the problem. Make sure you empathize with them. Then there is not going to be any threat, either internal or external. But the government, no one can foresee. There are so many examples I can keep on talking to you the whole day. But that I want to finish certain slides for you. So let me go to the next slide. Now, having seen the analysis, S, W, O, and T, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Now you have analyzed. You have to make points. What are your strengths? What are your weakness? What are the threats? And what is the opportunities? Having done all that, you know what is the funding you have got. And then you have to see, just because you are a chemical engineer, don't think that you can only look at as a pharmaceutical unit, only as a petrochemical unit. You can also look at some allied products because, again, funding is very critical and very crucial in an industry. Don't try to take a large sum of loan and say that I want to compete with Reliance. Sorry, you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you want to have a successful industry, so you should plan accordingly. Now, prospecting of gas, it has been exclusive by the government. Government ONGC has got exclusive rights over prospecting for oil or natural gas. But you can license from them and say, I have got the equipment, I have got the licensing, I have got the expertise from some company which is very good in this, who got a good track record. So I want to do prospecting gas and natural oil, natural gas and oil. So that is one way. The other is you say, look, I have got a limited source. I'll put up a refinery. How big a refinery? Again, I told you, Indian Oil has put up a refinery. There are small refineries. There are big mega projects. The Ambanis, they have a very big refinery. So you decide what kind of a refinery, what size you want. I'll give you a small tip. The last one, I've shown you this is an enterprise. These people, again, there is again another threat in this which I will detail to you. Now here, this particular company was buying flowers according to the seasons and extracting the natural oil from that and selling it as an aromatic oil. It is used in so many ways. In soap, you can use aromatic oil. You can use it for, massaging. There are so many uses. And there is one friend of mine in Orissa. They have got large tracts of land where they grow roses. So they collect all the roses, they extract the rose essence and they sell it as a rose essence for incense sticks, udubati. For udubati, this is a very big industry. There are, of course, you have to again, the threat. What is the threat? You can come up with inorganic. This is organic. You are at natural oil or natural extract. But the same thing can also be made in a laboratory. That is a threat. Anyone can set up an extraction plant. This is a very small plant, not very costly, maybe 5 to 10 lakhs. Today, 5 to 10 lakhs is nothing big. People can put up, but in 5 to 10 lakhs, again, what is the threat? Let me detail you. Earlier, they used to crush the flower goes wasted, and then the oil is extracted from that. But later on, they came up with freezing the flower with liquid carbon dioxide or some liquid chemical, and then they started extracting the essence out of the flower. The flower used to be intact. It never used to get crushed. And they can again sell the flower without the smell. There is one more industry that has come up recently. Temples, every day, they use tons of flowers. If you talk about Kashi Vishwanath Temple in Banaras, or Tirupati Lord Balaji, or Meenakshi Temple, or one such very famous temple, tons of flowers is used for decoration. And after that, the flowers are just put into landfills. Now, one company came up and said, please give me all the flowers. I'll clear it from your doorstep. So the temple was very happy. They said, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to resell it? He said, no, I'm running an NGO. I will take all these flowers. I'll crush them, dry them. I'll extract the scent out of that and use it for uduvati, and I will sell it back to the temples. So this kind of it is not a threat, but it is a new technology, not something new technology, but a small innovative step where recycling was introduced. Now that is going to be a threat, no doubt, no doubt. But you have to be prepared for the outside threats. Now, if you have decided to go for a pharma, as I told you, the cod liver oil capsules is a very small industry. With less than 5 to 10 lakhs, you can start up an industry and run it very successfully. But it depends upon your branding. See, the quality is already assured. It's an European standard coming in a barrel. So that is not an issue. Now, the company that is packing for you, converting it into soft gel, is also a certified, especially in India, the pharmaceutical industry licensing is very stringent. So any product that has been done in a certified, licensed pharmaceutical unit will pass all the tests. So you've got a very good class, A-class product. Now it depends upon the way you market it, the pricing. Don't go and say, WHO says you can take so many milligrams of cod liver oil every day, because it should also be pocket friendly. Don't try to increase the size. Don't try to reduce the size, but come up with a pocket friendly. Do your market research first. Only then you should be able to come up with a good product. Now, coming again, I told you the formulation. You buy something like I told you, my friend is the world's largest Brufen manufacturer. What he does, he makes bulk drugs. He makes Brufen in jars, in barrels, and sells it. You buy that barrel and then convert it into capsules or small things, or even simpler. Go for vitamin tablets. See how you can get the vitamins. The tablet, if you see, maybe a few grams. But if you see the medicinal content in it, is only a few milligrams. So the rest of them is only a body. So you can even think of making a product connected to an allied pharmacy. See, now that is what I'm trying to tell. You're a chemical engineer, fine. You decided to be in the chemical industry, fine. If your uncle is running a big industry, excellent. You have got that is your strength. Now what you do is you tell your uncle, you're making formulation, you're buying there. And then you're buying the body. So what is the body of this capsule? I'm going to make only the body. It is not the vitamins as such. The vitamins are bought from elsewhere, or the Brufen is brought from elsewhere, and you are providing only the body, which is not very technical. So you mass produce this and give it to your uncle, and he will put it together and come up with a medicine. Now you're not branding at all. You may get less margin, but you have a continuous demand for it. Now all of you know that petroleum jelly is a byproduct. It was a waste product while drilling oil. One fine day, someone came to know that this petroleum gel, when applied on bruises, cures it beautifully, cures it. So during Second World War, what they did, they started mixing a little bit of sulfur. Those days, antibiotics were still not very common. It was not affordable. It was not there, in fact, during First World War, antibiotic was not there. So the sulfur was a main drug. So they used to mix a little bit of sulfur into petroleum gel. Just blend it well, pack it, put it, give it a name, and then you market it as an ointment, sulfur ointment. Okay, so that is another very simple way of setting up a pharmaceutical unit. Or, again, as I told you, you buy the vitamins somewhere, or buy the Brufen from somewhere, you buy the body, you buy even the capsules, the body is sold by some outsider. Or you can make the body yourself only and sell it to someone who's capsulating the chemical inside that. So there is a lot of opportunity. Either you want to be in the core sector of the chemical engineering, or you want to be in the allied sector of the chemical engineering. Now I'm going to show you 3 slides. In Hindi, there is a very famous one, words, roti, kapda or makan. These 3 things are very essential for people to survive. Now you take care of biscuits. Can you come up with some kind of a biscuit product that you can make in chemical engineering? Yes, you can come up with the essence of the biscuit. You can come up with a preservative for a biscuit. Like that, if you talk about custard powder, custard is used. There is a very, Wakefield is one of the known brand. Again, I'm telling you, branding is very important. Wakefield brand custard powder is very, very common. What is it? Nothing. Great. But the branding is there. Now, custard powder is whatever is the ingredient you see, you can make. Now, jelly, again, even today we made custard jelly at home. We added a few bananas, grapes, and apple slices and had some good dessert, being a Sunday. So, what do? You make that jelly. Jelly is again nothing but whatever it is in a chemical formula, you can make. Agar-agar. Agar-agar is, those days they used to call it the Japanese grass or Chinese grass, they used to call it. No, agar-agar is used in the laboratory, as you know. That is again a chemical product. You can grow agar-agar in your own laboratory and sell it to others. So that is again an opportunity which I have not brought into this slide. But as I'm speaking, it comes into my thought. Fluency of thought is very important when anyone gives a lecture. Unless you have the knowledge, you will not be able to retrieve it. It's actually a random access memory. When I'm talking, because I'm already having that in my knowledge, I'm able to bring it up to the context and share it with you. And then the gelatin, again, it is a chemical product. Gelatin is used in so many. Ice creams have got gelatin. You all must be knowing that. So basically food. So a food jam. You can give preservatives for jam. You can give squashes, preservative. I'll come up to a very interesting slide in the later ones. Next few slides only. I'm not going to keep talking forever, though the subject is very vast and wide. If anyone wants personal guidance, please mail me. I'll share my mail ID already. It's there in the first slide. But if you have not noticed it, please share, take down my phone number, my email ID, and you can contact me and I will guide you. Now, roti I finished. No? Now, what is this? Kapda. Kapda is clothing. Now, polyester wadding is another very interesting product, which is a chemical product. You can manufacture polyester fiber, sell it as a fiber, or sell it as a wadding, or sell it as a yarn. There is a huge range of this. Need not be only a chemical engineer's product. It could be anyone who's got the money. I can see that if I have the money, that is my strength. But what is my weakness? I don't have technology. So I can buy the technology. I can buy the managers who have been already working in this field and set up a polyester fabric. So again, I'm telling you, now coverall. This is an opportunity that came across. Suddenly, the coverall, the overall was in such great demand, and India suddenly rose up to the demand and we started supplying the whole world. Gloves, latex gloves. Latex is a natural product, but you got neoprene gloves, which is a chemical product. So like that, gloves. There is humpty number of products that you can think of. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to set up an industry, you have to think of your product. Don't tell me that, sir, that man's glove product is in a huge demand, so I'm putting up a glove product. That you may be able to just run through an ordinary industry. But if you want to make it a successful industry, see if there is a method where you can make a glove in a faster way, or you can have a nitrile glove with a different processing. Like that, you have to come up with a new device. Makan. Now, Makan is a house. No, I'm not talking about a mega industry. I'm addressing students. So I'm trying to bring in very small things where it will be very easy for you to set up an industry. I can guide more than 40 students to set up an industry if you are interested. I can guide more than 50 of your students who's interested in innovations. Now, innovative product and enterprise, both put together, they come together. You've got 80 to 100 new successful enterprise in your hometown. So this is what India needs today. Now look, a resin like Araldite has got a hardener and a resin. So both you mix. You got M-Seal, Mahindra and Mahindra product. Mahindra is a big brand, so they're able to sell their brand. But they're not into the chemical engineering. But they said that they will be able to do it. Anabond, they're chemical mainly into resin bonded bonds. Now Fevicol, Fevicol has got 70% margin, not 70% of the market share of the requirement of adhesive in India. 70%. Will you call that a successful industry? No, you can become better than that. How? You buy the same resin in barrels and pack them into small tins and market it in a different brand. Again, there are a lot of scope. Or pesticide, hit. All of you know, Hindustan Lever has got so many pesticides. For mosquito, one pesticide. For fly, one pesticide. For cockroach, one pesticide. Termites, one pesticide. If you go to agriculture, huge. You got so many types of worms, bollworms in cotton, or you got worms in vegetables. So pesticide is a huge business. I know a company. I know the directors of this company. They have started up in a very small way in Ambattur, in Chennai. Today they are a world-renowned name in pesticides. So pesticide is again a lovely formulation where any chemical engineer can come up. Make sure that you know the business and do it. Next, very, very simple. Very, very simple. So again here, I'm telling you, bleach. Very, very simple. You have to just, olden days, in 1970, I knew companies that came up in life. companies which purchased only bleaching powder from big metro chemicals like that and soaked it in barrels. They just removed the top liquor and marketed it as a bleaching liquor. So bleached liquor, today it is domestically used in laundering. You give it to the hotels for laundering. You can give it to the hospitals for laundering. Huge. You just think of it. You have to think. Now you sit and plan. Planning is very essential. If you fail to plan, then you will not succeed. If you plan, success is definitely assured. Now the next, we are all looked at all the various products, but how to become a successful industrialist? If you don't have a team, you have to build your team around you. You cannot be doing all the work. You cannot be the front office desk person to take the calls. You can't be paying all your bills. You need some time for yourself to planning. Why I'm telling you that is, you need a team, because your team cannot think what is the strategy, but they can only tell you what will be the future strategy, and you have to plan on that. Do not sit and send all your letters yourself. Don't do all your correspondence yourself. Don't do all the marketing yourself. Don't plan everything yourself. You take consultants for each and everything and give it to them. Shoulder it. Give responsibility. Only then you will be able to build a team. And then, whether you are there or not, the company, the industry will be a very successful industry. Everyone has to share their responsibility. Responsibility has been tied down to each and every person. Only then the company will be a very successful industry. Now, if you see my previous slide, I've been telling an industrialist. Now, what is a successful industry? Now, I'm going to talk about innovation here, because I already told you a successful industry. You can always be competing with each another. It will become a competitive industry. But if you want a little better industry, you want to have a better margin, then you need to have some innovator in you. You need to have your own R&D department. People will be engaged. You can even outsource that. Today, big companies, huge multinational corporates from Europe or from US or anywhere you can talk, they come to India to outsource R&D. Now, let me tell you, the first scene is Edison. I put up Edison. He is the inventor of the bulb, the 40 watts bulb that we are all used to about 10 years back. It is still common. For the common man, it is still known. Even today, I find when I go to the internet and type idea, they always show you a bulb. I can talk to you on this particular bulb for hours together, but I will cut short my talk and give you the essence of it. Imagine, a couple of years back, I had a brainstorming session with a group, and I told them, why is this Edison bulb? 120 years it has been ruling his industry. He did not make any change. Why? Is this bulb so good? Then I said, let us look at the efficiency of this bulb. They said, sir, Edison bulb, or this bulb, whatever you call it, incandescent bulb, is 60% heat producing and 40% light producing. That means it was not an efficient contraption. It was not an efficient apparatus to serve your purpose. What was your purpose? To create lighting. So what is the efficiency? It should be better, not 40%, whereas the heat producing was more. So what I told them was, it is not the correct way. But anyway, this man, let me go into a little more detail. When we did the small brainstorming session, the Edison bulb was the incandescent bulb. A 40 watts bulb was only 10 rupees. So I went and asked the retailer, what is your margin? He said it's about 25%, 40%. Okay, that means the bulb cost only 6 rupees. We contacted a few manufacturers and asked them, what is your profit? He said 25%. So bulb cost was only 4 rupees 50 paise. Then we asked, how do you break up this 4 rupees 50 paise? He said, sir, the labor cost is about 1 rupee. The building cost is about 1 rupee. The cost of the land is about 1 rupee. So 3 rupees gone. So only 1 rupee 50 paise per bulb was actually the cost of the bulb. Then we said, give me the breakup. He said, glass is about 60 paise. The aluminum is about 20 paise. This so and so. So finally, filament about 10 to 15 paise. So imagine a bulb worth 10 rupees, which you are paying hard-earned money. You are paying 10 rupees, and if a 10 paise element breaks, the whole 10 rupees is put in the garbage. So we said, whether you're improving the efficiency of the bulb or not, reduce the cost of the bulb. How to reduce the cost? Why no one ever thought of reducing the cost of the bulb or making it better cost effective? So I'm an innovator. It is my passion. I can talk to you about innovation because I got more than 100 innovations of my own. I got patents for more than 22 products. Even in the month of November, I received 2 new patents, and I'm filing 2 more new patents this month. I got 30 patents down the pipeline, and I'm looking at students who will work with me to come up with some patents. Okay, coming back to the bulb. I said, why the bulb, incandescent bulb, was given only 1 filament? Why can't you give a double filament? So if 1 filament breaks, the second filament will automatically take connection and it will work. So like that, does not cost much to the manufacturer. He only has to fine-tune it a little bit, where he'll be introducing a second filament onto the bulb. So if the one filament breaks inside, automatically the second filament takes over. So by just adding 10 paise, and then you're patenting the bulb having 2 filaments. So for the next 20 years, you can license your product. You tell them, look here, I'm licensing you my innovation. This is my patent. I got a patent on a bulb having 2 filaments. So for every bulb that you manufacture, give it 25 paise. That is all I'm wanting. But the number of bulbs manufactured per day in this world is a few lakhs, millions, billions. Divided by 4, that many billions you will be earning money. That is the beauty. Even instead of setting up an industry and working so hard, if you become an innovator, you will make much more money. So students and faculty members who are listening to me, please look at taking up innovation as a hobby to begin with. Come up the right innovation, and then your money will simply be falling down, will be falling in your lap. It will be it's like a tree where you can just pluck off money. All the manufacturers will be paying you because you are going to only license it. Now, talking about Einstein. Einstein started off only as a patent clerk. He was a clerk in a patent office. But he was reading so many patents that he thought he was so knowledgeable. He got so much knowledge. And then he's rest is history. But what I'm trying to tell you is, there was another man who was equally smart like Einstein. He's a Russian. His name is Althusser. You can check it out on the net. Okay, now what happened during the Second World War? The Russians did not want to leak out their secrets. So any new innovation, people in the patent office had to read all those innovations and tell the government, recommend the government whether to suppress that innovation or give it out as a worldly norm, give a license to manufacture. So this man read tons of papers, tons of patents, and he thought, look, this patent is similar to this patent. This problem, this solution is similar to this problem and this solution. For example, when you heat popcorn, when you heat corn in a confined atmosphere, what happens? The moisture inside explodes and you get the popcorn. It pops out. So this man thought, how do you peel potatoes? You heat the potato, the moisture is still there, suddenly cool the potato, what happens? The skin will just pop out, pops out. So he thought, correlation. So many problems, I got so many solutions. Similar problems, I got similar solutions. So he came up with his own theory, and he set up his own institute in Russia. And it is from that Russia, he had 2 students. One was Althusser's own Russian, and the other one was Israelite. After getting the experience, he went to Israel and started his own college. But this other student continues to be there even till today as the head of the department. He is the dean of the Department of Institute of Creative Ideas. And he is certified. He signed on my certificate for Doctor of Science. I'm very proud to state that. But anyway, coming back. If you have a patent, till the patent lasts, till the life of the patent, you have celebrations every day, every minute, every second is a celebration for you. You are making money because you don't have competition. Very, very important character. You may do all your analysis. You may even get a recipe. Planning is very critical. See, here I want to tell you something. Yesterday I planned so much. I prepared this entire presentation. But I went to my factory to visit my factory. I took my laptop there. Suddenly the tower failed there and something happened to my laptop and the whole thing crashed. I lost whatever I made presentation for you. I apologize for not being able to give my presentation yesterday to you at 11:15. Instead, I'm giving it to you today at 3 o'clock. I apologize to you. I'm very sorry, but I'm catching up with the time. I sat up the whole night and made a fresh presentation for you because I'm so happy that I'm able today. I hope that it will be very useful for you in the future. So whatever you plan today, there is something glitch can happen. I can look at the weather report and say, today I'm going walking. Today I'm taking my family for a picnic. I check my weather. There is some kind of freak weather. Suddenly something has happened. So I've lost sanity. So whatever you plan can go waste. Perseverance. You need to keep going. When going gets only the tough get going. So that is a very beautiful word that I've come across. So please remember that you will come up with so many problems, but you need to be perseverance. You need to have perseverance, a tireless effort in making your company a successful industry. And then later on, you can go expand yourself to bigger ones, either vertically or horizontally. Only then you have the key to success and you can celebrate. This is what one of the things, opportunity for you today. India has come up with the big plans of self-reliance. So there is an opportunity for you. If you're making polyester wadding, add value to it by making sleeping bags. Supply to the defense. Your funding may be very small. You might not be able to make a battle tank like L&T. Today, L&T, Larsen and Toubro are making submarines, are making battle tanks, they're making ships and big gigantic products. But small things like how many submarines will India place an order for? Maybe it's in a few billions, but only 1 or 2. But if sleeping bags are by the millions, so you can make your profit. You can buy your wadding, you can buy the polyester fabric, put up a small stitching unit and you stitch the sleeping bag and provide it to the soldiers. You can come up with a good preservative, make good orange juice and give it to the soldiers who are in the Siachen Glacier. I'm working on 2 new refrigerators. I've already worked on a new refrigerator. I did not file for a patent that time. But 6 years down the line after I made my innovation, Samsung and Haier came up with the same idea, but they went international by patenting their idea. And that fridge is already in the market. But my fridge, at that time, I didn't have the funding to patent it. So I did not patent. But even today, I'm working on 2 new refrigerating system. If any of you are interested, please mail me, come and work with me. I wanted to work only for about 10 days. And I guarantee you that your name will be part of the application of my patent. At least will be part of your name. One of the co-applicant will be you. I'll show you that you are my team member in thinking with me, thinking along with me. I can help you think 2 or 3 projects like that with me, and then you will be able to work further with others. Because if your teacher teaches you the basic arithmetic, 2 plus 2 is 4, you can teach anyone that 3 plus 1 is 4, or 1 plus 3 is 4, or 3.5 and 1.5 is 4. Then it is up to your skill, how you pick up and how you present it. So I've got ideas for new refrigerators, new air conditioners, and I have already given ideas to 12 different industries. Though I'm a textile technologist, basically a BTech in textiles, but my innovations have been for 12 different industries. So students, don't think you're only a chemical engineer. You can bring chemical engineering into a new innovative idea and develop a new product and either license it or come up with your own industry to make your product. See, it could be a small thing like a dog leash. If you're able to embed a chip into the leash and put it on the dog's collar, wherever the dog goes, you can follow it on your app. If the dog has gone beyond 1 kilometer and is lost, you know which direction it has gone, you can go and search it. Let it be a small. That is what I like. The only thing I like with Chinese is they're ready to come and innovate and they're ready to launch the product. Do not wait for the ultimate product. Don't say it has got so many defects. I'll be rectifying them and then come to the market. Sorry. If you think you're comfortable with the product, bring it into the market and then bring it as next model, and make it more efficient. So innovation today is a key word in India, but very few people know what is innovation. There are many people who can teach you on industry, how to set up an industry, how to make it as successful. There are people who take up dead industries and make it successful. But if you want to know something about innovation, there are very few people to teach you on innovation and to guide you. So please, students, I'm telling you, try it once. Don't say I'm not for an innovator. Let me give you a small example on this. How many of you just think to yourself, because here on this platform, I will not be able to get your feedback. Maybe later I will get back. How many of you in this group, 55 plus, are innovators? Yes or no? Immediately the answer will come to you, because this is nothing to research on. You know whether you are an innovator or no. I think at least 50 of you have said no. Maybe 5. If I'm assuming there are 55 of you on this platform today, because before I started presenting, I saw 55 number on my screen. So I'm assuming there are 55 people, and I would say that 50 of you would have said, I'm not an innovator. And only 5 of you would have said, I am an innovator. I've got the innovative skill in me. Okay. Now let me put the same question in another format. How many of you have never said a lie? A lie. Your school day, college days, with your friends, at home, or anywhere. Have you ever said a lie or not? I would say all 55 of you would have said yes. I don't think that even one person of the 55 would have said, I've never said a lie. If you have said, I would have definitely said a lie. More than one lie. More than, I've lost count of it, let me say. But it is not a bad thing. I'm only trying to come out of a situation. So nothing, I'm not telling that it's right or wrong. I'm not looking at the right and wrong of telling lies here. This is not a Vedanta class. But I'm trying to ask you, have you ever said a lie or not? If the answer is yes, now I'll come back to my original thing. A lie is a solution to a difficult problem. You're caught in a sticky problem. Someone has asked you a question, why are you late to class? The answer was, you slept. But you don't want to tell that you slept. You don't want to tell your lecturer, your professor, that you slept. So what do you say? No, sir, my bus was delayed. No, sir, I was not keeping well today. Something. So that is a lie. So you come up with a solution to a problem. So this is itself is an innovative solution. So let me tell you, students and faculty members, all of us born are all innovators. In fact, I'll add one more thing to this. Do you all know the meaning of engineer? What is the meaning of engineer? You will say in the next 2 semesters, I become a full-fledged engineer because I get a certificate. I'm certified as a BTech. I'm certified as a BE. I'm an engineer. What is the meaning of engineer? How many of you know the meaning of engineer? I went and checked out what is the meaning of engineer. The root is from the French word ingenieur. And you know what is the meaning of engineer? Ingenious. one who can innovate. So every engineer should be capable of innovation. Okay, now going back to the next slide. Okay, now successful industry. We have been talking about a successful industry. Indian Oil came up with this sign, with this logo. I'm still lonely at the top. This was Indian Oil's logo. It was the Indian Oil's collar tune. Like they used to always say, I'm lonely at the top, because they had monopoly. Till recent, there was no Bharat Petroleum, there was no Hindustan Petroleum. Indian Oil was the only Indian Oil after kicking out so many foreign companies. Esso was there, Burma Shell was there. These, because I'm talking about 1965, when Burma Shell and Esso was kicked out of India. So Indian Oil became the only company selling petrol. So they said, we are making tons of profit. We are a successful industry. I'm still lonely at the top. That was not correct, because they did not have competition. Now I will be telling that if I have a patent for the next 20 years, I'm lonely at the top because there is no competitor. But after 20 years, when the patent lapses, you've got new people coming up. Today, Indian Oil is not the topmost country, the topmost product in the world. You've got Bharat Petroleum, you've got Hindustan Petroleum, you've got Shell, you've got Reliance, you've got Esso. So many products have come. So what you will still be lonely. So do not be lonely. Now what I'm going to do, the next few slides, is going to change my look towards being a successful industry. I've changed it to being a successful industrialist. Successful industry has gone below in my, because I'm now not only taking up 1 hour of your time, I need to give you good advice, students. You're all like younger to my children. So I want to give you a good advice. Do not be only you at the office. Don't think that my time, 24 hours, I have to think only of the office. You have to be well balanced. You have to balance your time. You have to also spend time with your family. Crucial, yes, I know. It may be your wedding anniversary, it could be your children's birthday or your wife's birthday or your parents' wedding day, something like that. But if there is a calamity, if there's an emergency, definitely you have to get away. Now your family will be understanding if you have spent enough time with them. So be a successful industrialist, not just talking about a successful industry, or be a successful industrialist. Now I'm bringing it personally to you. All this time I was talking up as an industry as a whole, but now I am targeting you as an industrialist, a successful individual. I am now coming to the brass tacks. I am talking only about your person. You need peace of mind. You need time. Don't think that money is all. Money will grow on the trees. You think money doesn't grow on trees? Today you talk about agriculture. That is what money is growing on trees. If you are going to be an apple cultivator, if you're going to be an orange cultivator, you're going to be a mango cultivator, when you sell the produce, money grows on trees. It doesn't mean a dollar bill or a coin is going to hang from the tree, but you will have peace of yourself. Then it is you should be a successful individual first, topmost priority, being a successful individual. Next, successful industrialist, and then a successful industry, because you're taking care of so many families who are working along with you, so many management who are working along with you, but you have to be a person by yourself. So friends, with this, I'm closing my presentation for the day. I wish you all a successful future, whatever it is. I want every one of you to be a successful person in life. You can fail in your industry, nothing doesn't matter. You have all the time in the world to start one more industry, and you have learned the pitfalls, why you fail, even if you have failed. So that is not important. But if you fail as a person, you can never regain that. So I felt so bad that I could not make my presentation yesterday. It was beyond my control. I apologize once again. But with this, I close my presentation to you all. Thank you very much.
Sir, there are a few questions in the chat box. May I
Yes.
have the privilege of reading them out? Or would you prefer to do them yourself?
Okay, I will also read. Let me read the first one. It says, hello, sir. This is Venganathan from third year. What, according to you, is the very first becoming a successful innovator?
Just a minute.
Okay, I jumped to the, sorry, let me push it up. Okay.
You can just stop sharing, and so that your video will be on.
You want me to keep the video on?
Yeah, you can keep the video on, and you can just stop sharing it. Yeah.
Yes, I'll stop sharing it.
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing. Let me read the first question. Okay, there were how many? 53. Okay, I thought 55, but only 2 of them left. That's all right. Students can post their opinions. Okay, fine. Now, internship are mandatory as part of AICTE. Well, can students go to perform internship and get exposure to process? Very simple tasks like how to do market survey, etc. What is your advice for them? Okay, who has asked that question?
Me, Naren. Yeah, I have put that.
Okay, now the answer is yes. Yes, with capital letter YES, you can do an internship. But see, when I did my BTech textile technology, it was a 5-year course. Okay, and I was the only person who spent 60 days of my summer vacation. I went to Binny Mills in Perambur, which is also in Chennai, and worked as an unpaid apprentice because the fire in the belly. I wanted to become an entrepreneur from day one. So I thought I need time. I didn't want to waste time after becoming a BTech. Then after telling I'm a full-fledged engineer, I wanted to know, and if you're going to get paid, they will tell you, they'll anchor you to a particular department. So I said, I'm an unpaid apprentice. These are 60 days. I got 8 weeks. I want to spend 8 weeks in 8 departments. The management said, fine, but you can come here, but will you as a student come here from 6:30 in the morning and work till 3 o'clock, which is the morning shift? You know what I did? I used to be there from morning 6 to evening 6 because I thought this was an opportunity given to me. When someone gives you a nice packet of kova, halwa, sweet, will you taste half and leave away half? You will try to eat everything. So I took the cake and the plate too. So I spent all my time. But so what I'm trying to tell you is, no, I decided to be a textile weaving unit. So I spent most of my time learning the technology. So similarly, if you have made up I think now you would have got some idea that you don't have to dream very big. You can also have small dreams, but pleasant dreams. So like that, you come up with a product, or you write to me or talk to me. Okay. In my last screen, I had my email, I had my phone number, my logo, everything was there. If not, you take it from Professor Narayan, he will give it to you. I welcome all of you to come and share with me. Otherwise, there is no point. Just a memento of it will be a memory. I'll be putting it up in my showcase, which is already full. I've addressed more than 200 colleges, more than 5 to 10 of students. So now, please decide. Please decide the product you want. Don't stick to only one product. Okay? You decide 2-3 products and spend 1 month. Do a pakka research. Draft out what is your questionnaire, and don't try to make it free. Please go there, visit them. Your target audience should be your consumers, and get your product feedback, and then you can think of it. You discuss with someone who can guide you properly, who can read that. It is like a horoscope. You got some data. Someone has to do the data reading. Okay, I think I've answered that question. Okay, Narayan, I'm going to the next one. Kumaran,
Yeah.
Kumaran Nagappan. Good afternoon, sir. I am Kumaran from the final year. Is there any decision criteria to judge one's proposal for patent? If there are any criteria, can you share them? Sir, patenting is a vast subject. Okay. Now, patent, first of all, I always advise my students who have done interns under me. First of all, don't just Google it and say. Don't ask direct questions, because today it is a spy in the sky. If I tell, for example, let me tell you, construction of or distillation of a particular chemical, then Google knows that I'm looking at manufacturing chemical. Fine, no harm in that. If you say, can I manufacture this particular product from this particular raw material, then Google starts searching himself much faster than you think, and he'll be one step, not one step, leaps and bounds ahead of you. So he will find out even before you do your research as a student, even before your faculty member can answer your question, he will have the answer and he will patent it. I've lost a couple of patents that way. Then I became wiser. So I ask an indirect question. Don't ask where are you going, ask where will you be returning from. Understood? So there is a vast subject. I can also address you on how to draft a patent. In fact, Anna University conducts 1-week course on patent drafting. Come sit there, hear them out, pay a very small fee as a student. You will get a certificate that you are a certified patent drafting. So that is also adds to your experience. I'm going to the next question. See, basically that patent which you are looking at, it should not have predecessing. You go and search in the patent section. Now India has got a patent base. Okay, everything is electronically stored. You can do a search. Now if I tell you my patent number, you just have to type the number, Indian patent number, and immediately Google will pick it up and give it to you. The patent holder is Amarnath. The co-holders are so and so, so and so, so and so. It was patented in so and such year. The patent was about this one, abstract, description, drawings, everything is there. Everything is there. So you have to know how to do a patent search before you go and do that. If it should not be there, because after filing your patent draft, okay, your patent application, the patent office will do a search. When they do a search and then they come up with something which is similar to yours, they will raise objections. Then it is like a court. You have to go there. Of course, it is not a judicial court, not a criminal court, not a civil court. You just have to go there and tell them, sir, this is different. You have misunderstood me. This is not what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to do. He will say, give it to me as an explanation. Then you give it as an explanation. They will accept it or reject it. As simple as that. They're not going to sentence you. Okay. Akila. Is Akila there? Okay. During the initial stages of an industry that has been newly set up, what measures would you suggest for its success, given that there are extremely dominant industries in that field? Is a new innovation in the product you are making the only key? Yes, very true. See, marketing is also another very big thing. Hindustan Lever in 1970 were a leading brand. Even today they are a leading brand. And Surf was a very well-known brand till Nirma came up. Nirma, what they said, see, I'm giving you better detergent. I'm utilizing all the villagers to come and do it. So what is wrong in it? Who will patronize? Why do you want to pay Hindustan Lever? Hindustan is the Indian counterpart, but Lever is the American counterpart. So whom do you want to pay? People who are patriotic side, people who can't afford. Similarly, let me tell you another example. Chick shampoo. Chick shampoo was based in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai. He came up with the concept of selling shampoo in a 1 rupee packet. Till then, big companies like again Hindustan Lever and all of them, Procter and Gamble, they are marketing them in 200 ml, half a liter, like that. Why should a person, let us say a low income group, someone living in a very small house, rented house, I don't want to use a kind of slum word, but still, even she is entitled to a clean hair, a glossy hair, a nice use of shampoo, good or bad. Then she said, so Chick came up with 1 rupee sachet. Similarly, Parachute hair oil, they were marketing in big cans. Then Parachute themselves thought, it's a good idea, why not I make Parachute in 1 rupee sachet? Because when I travel, I don't have to take the full packet. If I'm traveling for 1 week, I take only 3 packets because I use only half a packet a day. So I can stretch it out and it doesn't spill. Still put it in a plastic cover and take it. So you have to come up with something innovative, either in the marketing or in the packaging or the costing. But the quality should be number 1. So Akila, I hope I have answered your question. Now the next person is Supraja. Hello, sir. I am Supraja. I am from the third year chemical engineering, and this is my question. Time is one of the major parameters that affects the process of transforming innovative solutions to set up a successful industry. How to overcome the challenges when the demand rises as an amateur. Supraja, your question is very good, very good. Your products is innovative. Even though it is innovative, there is no guarantee that people are going to buy. Now, I'll give you a small example. Imagine you come up with I have come up with a wonderful solution packed in a bottle, put it in a carton. It's a glass, crystal cut glass. I fill it up with a very beautiful looking color and I label it. Wonderful color, wonderful packing. You can use the glass bottle after the contents is over. Very aromatic, very tasteful, everything. And I even buy shelf space. That is, when you go to a supermarket, it is not kept in the lowermost shelf. It is kept at the eye level. So, having done all this, hundreds of people, thousands of people pick up my box. They look at it. Wow, the color is very nice. The bottle is very good. The contents is very nice. They say it is aromatic. They say it is very tasteful. But no one buys it. No one buys it. Why? Why? Because I put there, labeled it as arsenic poison or cyanide poison. Who would like to taste arsenic or cyanide and find out whether it is tasteful? Who is bothered whether it's going to be odorless or good aromatic? Maybe one billion who wants to commit suicide or something would do. But I don't want to market. But if you're smart, Supraja, what you'll do is dilute it 100 times and use it as a pesticide. Of course, I'm not talking about cyanide or arsenic, but if it is a pesticide, it is also a poison, but not for human consumption, but for insects. So this is how you come up with an innovative product. Your product is harmful, but it can be marketed in a different label. Right, I hope I have answered you. Dharnesh, nowadays companies prefer to hire people who fit the current corporate culture, not those who want to shake it up and transform it. How to deal with this kind of situation? You're very, very, very true, Dharnesh. In fact, 2-3 companies I have been a consultant. I resigned on the very first day. I did not accept their order, their request for me to be their consultant, even though I was promised a very good salary, very good salary. I did not accept it because the day when I go and make a suggestion, they say, fantastic, last 35 years my industry has been here, but I'm not able to do it. But I don't want to even accept yours. I wanted to know whether this is possible or not. Then I said, then why do you even keep me? I'm not interested. Here, you don't have to pay me even for one day. I just leave it to charity. I've earned a knowledge over it. Every day is a lesson that I learn. So that day was a lesson to me. Don't go to such people. But there are people who are ready to experiment, who are ready to say, okay, this is your limitation. I allocate a budget, but you have to be responsible. I give you the responsibility. I'll give you 5 lakhs. You experiment. But whatever you develop will be the property of the company. That is fair enough. Next, Kalaivanan. Could you please suggest me some ways to advertise a brand successfully, given that the steps prior to it, like innovation and implementation, could be done with hard work and perseverance were present? Okay, again, see, today the world is changing a lot. In fact, in 2017, I was invited to Russia to be a jury at an international design contest. Okay, it was an international design contest. The way I conducted myself on the first day, they thought I was a good speaker. They thought I'm not. Okay, and they invited me to 2 other sessions. One was to address students and public, and the other was purely on a subject which I'm not an authority on. They said, sir, please, today we are allocating 1 hour. You are one of the panelists. to talk about smart city and how to reduce traffic. You know who are the co-panelists? Vice President of Renault, Vice President of Datsun, top scientists of Russia, Europe, America, international people. I was a nobody, they thought. It was like Vivekananda going to the Chicago. Maybe I'm not Vivekananda, but I'm just giving you an example. I was nobody. But when they heard me, you know what I said? I don't know, that night I made my presentation like what I made today for you. My first one, Datsun Vice President spoke. Renault Vice President spoke. He said faster cars, double cars, 2-seaters, 4-seaters, station wagon, wider roads, straight roads, quality roads, all that they spoke on. But you know, when I was preparing, it so happened that my first 2 slides was from Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. I did not know what they were going to talk, but I said, in India, I come from the land of, from my land, India, one of the ancient cultures and civilized world. 5,000 years ago, we had a road which stretched 10 kilometers in a straight line, which was 40 feet wide. And I showed them toys, which was unearthed there. One was a single man sitting in a single bullock cart, which was for personal transportation. The other was a cart drawn by 2 bulls with logs on it. Even today, you can go on the internet and search. You will find these toys which I'm talking about. And I showed them, I said, we already had transport for personal transport and for transporting luggage. And we had already invented the wheels. What is Datsun, or I did not mention the name, but I said, what is the industry, automobile industry doing even today? They're still running on the same 5,000-year-old wheel which Indians use. You should be good in accepting, as I told you, random access memory. It was there in my memory, my wisdom, my knowledge. So I was able to talk to them like that. So again, today's platform. Now I'm addressing you what I said that time. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you. Why should children go to school, commute 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers a day to learn ABCD or 1, 2, 3, 4? It can be done in virtual class. Today it has become a reality for the last 1 year. Not only for school children, even for college students like you all, virtual. In fact, I used to go to hundreds of colleges and receive the memento in hand and shake hands. But today, I'm sitting in front of a screen. I think it is not a good experience. All said and done, one-to-one is something great. Anyway, so today you can advertise on SMS. You can advertise on YouTube. You can advertise. I'll tell you one more secret. My daughter, she's a visual communication person. She was working for Amazon. She resigned. She started a cake business. She was a curator. She used to decorate her own cakes. If you have a pen and pencil, please write down this. And please look into that. She called it Facebook, F-A-C-B-O-H, Facebook / ICE Rink, R-I-N-K, Ice Rink Cakes, C-A-K-E-S. She did only advertising on Facebook, and she was making 5 cakes a day. Each cake was costing her something like 15,000 to 25,000 rupees a day. One cake. She'll take only one order, but she used to make such beautiful cakes. So like that, today you can advertise through, there are so many medias. So you'll go to the electronic media and start advertising. And then you use handbills. Even today, every day I go down to take a milk, I'll find in my post box handbills telling, there is a new cake shop, new milk booth, new stationery shop. Someone is advertising every day. So with that, I would say today advertising and making it public has become very easy. Logeshwari. Next I'm going to Logeshwari. Lokeshwari. Hello sir, what is your take on industries run and set up by women? Is the road same to us as well? Well, Lokeshwari, very good question. Today, women empowerment is one of the jargons used by the government. Even if I want to start an industry, even when I file a patent, my son is very good in innovative thoughts because he's seen me innovating at home. My daughter is very good in her innovation. So I make it a joint. I'm the main lead person who innovates, and my son and daughter are co-innovators. When I put my daughter's name, a woman's name there as a team member, I get priority in looking at my application. I pay a Tatkal fee for quick looking at my inspecting my application, and being a woman in the team, we get priority. So women get priority, you get more subsidy, you get grants, a lot of things. So, by the way, if any of you have got the time, go to Helen and Curtis. The name Helen and Curtis. It was run by a woman. I think it's about a 50-year-old company, started by the wife of the owner of Raymond Suiting. Raymond Suiting. His wife started that beauty. They used to make lipsticks, they used to make nail polish, and all beauty cosmetics for ladies. Helen and Curtis. Now, ladies, 50 years back, she made a dent in the market. So today, I would say that it is still the in thing. So Lokeshwari, don't worry. You have my blessings. You have God's blessings. You will do very well. So Shastra, greetings, sir. I am Roshan. Finally, chemical engineer should very much be aware of the course, product design. Definitely, see, chemical engineering and pharmaceutical is very close by. Not only that, if I'm going to make a skin ointment and I know that it is poisonous to the person, don't do it. So having knowledge in your core subject is very good. If not, that is your weakness. Your strength is having knowledge on your core subject, but your weakness is not having full knowledge on the particular element. Then you bring in a consultant and take his advice. And today Google is as good as a guru. So go Google it and check lots of information there. Even if I say successful enterprise, if I go and click on the Google, I find that there are some lakhs of hits. How many lakhs can you read? You'll be spending your whole lifetime only reading and not working. So jump into the swimming pool if you want to learn swimming. Don't go on reading books on swimming, how to learn swimming. Next. Someone has thanked me. Okay, market leaders in the energy sector like Shell, Exxon, Mobil are slowly moving towards green hydrogen and hydrogen economy as alternative source of energy. I have noticed that they usually outsource problem to small innovation companies, startups, green hydrogen energy that we can, we as students do get the opportunity and exposure to get the sense of inspiration and innovation. Definitely. See, now I told you to become an innovator, take it as a hobby first. Try to think whatever object you look at, you look at it as a hobby. Why was it designed like this? Why is the grip like this? What is the material that they have used? What is the process they have used in making that particular component? Like that, you have to keep on thinking. Only then your knowledge will also improve. And if you can attach yourself, work as an intern under some company who is already an innovator, because you don't have a label. But if under you, see, no one can become a Supreme Court judge without being an advocate's junior. So you have to start your work as a down the rung in the ladder and then climb up your ladder. So I think I've answered your question. Thanks to the insights, and if no more questions, we can stop with this question. Srivastava, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, just one. Yeah, Srivatsa, you can.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this insightful session and followed by the query session, sir. Now I would like to call upon Rahul once again to propose the vote of thanks.
So on an auspicious National Science Day, I'd like to propose my vote of thanks to everyone who has made this event a big success. On the behalf of the entire chemical engineering fraternity at Shastra Deemed to be University, I give my heartfelt thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Amarnath, for joining us today despite his busy schedule. We are really grateful for this opportunity to hear your thoughts and learn from your experience. Thank you, sir. I'd like to thank our beloved Dean, Dr. K.S. Rajan, Associate Dean, Dr. V. Punuswamy, and all other faculty members for being the catalyst that inspired us to do our best and stand as a pillars for support. I'd also like to thank our alumni for their constant guidance and support. Special mention to all those people who have worked behind the scene to organize and execute this online event. Last but not the least, I'd like to thank all the student participants present here for making this event a grand success. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Naren. Thank you for inviting me. It was my pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'm going off
We
the
have
air.
come-
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. We have come to the end of the session. I thank everybody involved in organizing and attending this lecture for making it a wonderful experience and a grand success. The recording will now be stopped. Thank you.